Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Shine and Inspire. Today we are going to talk about a very fascinating topic, the impact of emotions and its vibratory frequency. What is emotional frequency? Emotional frequency refers to the vibratory energy produced by our thoughts and feelings. How we think, how we feel basically creates a frequency of emotion. We all are vibrating at frequencies. You might have heard about, frequency, lower frequency or higher frequency, stronger aura or dull aura. So how do we create that aura, that magnetism? So it all is determined by the state of vibratory frequency or energy we are vibrating at. So you may have observed when you sit with certain people, you start feeling so good about yourself, right? And at the same time, when you are just coming in the energy field of somebody, you don't feel good about it. So what is it? They are not saying anything. All this is non-verbal communication. You may have read this non-verbal communication in your college days, right? 70% of what we are is the non-verbal communication, right? People can feel the energy we are vibrating at, right? So that is your emotional frequency. So you may have observed some people, when you see, you start feeling sadness, right? You start feeling that nothing is good. Their aura is so strong in their energy field of low frequency that you start picking up that energy, and all of a sudden you will start feeling not good, right? And similarly, on the other hand, you meet some people, some motivational speakers, you just come in their vicinity and all of a sudden you have a smile on your face. What is that? They are not saying anything to you. That is their emotional frequency. So, I am going to explain this energy frequency through a chart today, right? So, as per David Hawkins, he has described 16 parameters, 16 different vibrational states at which we are vibrating, which starts from shame, which is at 20, to enlightenment, which is a state of pure bliss, which is a vibration of the highest frequency, 780. So, we are going to learn what are the different emotional states we are vibrating at and how can we improve it. So, how we can improve it is something which we will be picking up in another video, but today let's understand what are these vibratory frequencies and why do you need to learn this. To self reflect, to give a feedback to yourself. If you are ready to take those positive steps towards self improvement, this is one way through which you can self reflect. You will get to know how do you vibrate, right? And we may be vibrating at different frequencies at different phases of our life. It does not mean that if you are vibrating at a certain frequency at one stage time of your life, you will be vibrating at the same frequency throughout your life. For example, if you had a trauma in your life, right, you were vibrating at a frequency of grief, right? But maybe you are working on yourself, you are self healing, and you are improving yourself. When you work on yourself, you are ready to do the catharsis, feel your emotions, release your emotions, and through that you are anchoring your emotions, and that is definitely going to take you out of that state. And remember, you can't heal what you cannot feel. If you are in a state of grief, you have to feel the pain to heal it, right? Once you heal that grief, you will be vibrating at a higher frequency. Maybe you will be going one step ahead from that frequency of grief, right? And you must have realized the day you are in a good mood, everybody around you is in a good mood. Everybody responds to you in a good way. And on the other way, if you are in a not so good mood, you are in a sad state, you started for the day and you had a let's say your car broke, or whatever, you are in a not so good state of mind, you reach office, everybody you all of a sudden feel is against you, and everybody starts treating you horribly, right? So why is that happening on that particular day? You are attracting that emotion from others towards you, because that's where you are vibrating. So your vibe attracts your tribe. Remember that. If you are vibrating at a happy frequency, you will see that everybody around you is also joyful, or when they are meeting you, at least they are in a joyful state of mind. And many a times, even people who are not joyful with others, all of a sudden you will feel that when you are in a happy state of mind, their frequency is also changing. They don't smile with others, but when they talk to you, they are joyful, because you are demanding, your vibratory energy is demanding that energy from them, right? So your journey starts from within. Always remember that the work has to be done in you to change your outer world. It's a journey, it's a inside journey, right? You have to work on your inner world to change your outer world. And you will realize, when you start changing your inner world, everything around you starts shifting. It's all about the emotional frequency you are vibrating at. For example, as I said, right, when you are in a state of joy, or when you are in a state of love, for example, you start feeling everything is beautiful around you, and you start loving everybody, right? And all of a sudden you are ready to forgive others for whatever they had done, right? So where is that coming from? That is your energetic frequency, which is basically attracting that environment around you, and you are changing your perspective towards life, or you are changing your lens to see the world. The world is what it is, right? And different people see different things, different people see the world in a different way. You may have observed, some people are always in a state of blame game, or they are always cribbing, this is not good, that is not good, why are you doing this, why are you doing that? They will always be busy in pulling the other person down, because you know where they are vibrating actually. If they are doing that, they are in a state of complete shame, they don't like themselves, they are in a state where they hate themselves. And that's why when they see the other person who's shining brighter, they don't like the person, and actually they don't like themselves. That's why the other person is just reflecting their own inner being to them, right? So that the light of the other person is basically reflecting a light on their shadow part, or the parts of them which they don't like about themselves. It has nothing to do with you, my friends. Basically, you are just working as a reflection for them, which is basically triggering them to feel a certain way, right? So just be very conscious of your own vibratory frequency, or your own emotional state of mind. And when you are going to change, your entire world is going to change for sure. Now let's talk about the power of thoughts. The thoughts we think create the vibratory frequency around us, the energetic frequency around us. And this vibrational frequency can influence our interactions with the world around us. And you can measure your level of consciousness by measuring your level of frequency, or your emotional state of being. Now let's understand the Hawkins scale. So I would like to explain this Hawkins emotional scale through an emotional energy chart, which you can see on the screen. Lower frequencies, emotions like fear and anger resonate at lower frequencies. High frequencies, in contrast, emotions such as love and joy vibrate at much higher frequencies. So, typically, a healthy human body maintains a higher vibratory frequency, When our frequency drops, especially during illness, it can lead to significant changes in our well being. So, if you look at the emotional energy chart, so shame is at 20, then it's guilt, then apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride, courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. And if you see here, the lower frequencies are frequencies where you feel more contracted. And when you move to a higher frequency state, you feel more expanded, right? So that is the ultimate consciousness when you reach in the state of enlightenment. And mostly when you are vibrating at a lower frequency, you are in a more destructive state, meaning you are in a state where you want to create self harm, or there is lack of self love. And when you reach a higher frequency state, which is an expansive state, you are more in the energy of self love or self acceptance, right? More in the energy of constructive thought process rather than being in a destructive thought process. So have a look at this, the chart on the screen, and you can also take a screenshot of this chart just for your better understanding. And if you see here, even the state of desire is also a lower frequency. We might have heard the law of vibration, which says you have to align with the energy of what you want rather than being in the desire mode, right? So when you are in a state of desire, you want something, you are vibrating at a lower frequency. And in case you want to attract or manifest what you want, you have to vibrate at a higher frequency to align with what exactly it is all about, right? You have to align with the frequency of what you exactly want. So, law of vibration is again a very deep topic which I will be taking up in another video. Now, let's look at this map of consciousness developed by David Hawkins in detail. So, now once again, look at it from a different perspective in detail, like what is the predominant emotional state when you are vibrating at a certain frequency? What is your generic view of life when you are vibrating at that frequency? Or how do you process things when you are vibrating there? So, for example, if you see here, when you are vibrating at the frequency of shame, your predominant emotional state is that of a humiliation, right? You feel humiliated, right? And miserable. And when you move to guilt, you are in a more of a self blaming mode, right? You feel evil, right? Your view of life is evil. You feel you have done something drastically bad and you are an evil person, right? And everybody is evil around you. Then, when you move to the next level, it is apathy, which is the state of despair or hopelessness. Then you move to grief, which is a state of regret or tragic. Usually, you are in a state of grief when you have been through a traumatic situation in life. Then you move towards fear, where you feel anxious, right? And you are in a withdrawal state. Yeah, then you are in a state of desire. You start craving, right? Your predominant emotional state is that of a craving state. And then anger, your predominant emotional state is hate, right? Aggression. So you basically process it through aggression by being aggressive towards others. Then you move towards pride, where you are demanding, you demand from people to live the way you want them to live, right? Then courage, where you are in a state of empowerment, you feel empowered. Then you move to a state of neutrality, which is a state of trust, or you have your view of life is generally satisfactory. Then willingness, optimism, you are in a more optimistic state, hopeful state. Acceptance, when you are in a more forgiving state or you are more harmonious. Reason, where you create better understanding, right? You have understanding towards others. Your view of life is meaningful. Then from reason you move to love, the frequency of love, and you may have observed, people who are in love, they start liking everything around them, right? So when your frequency shifts, you basically feel that everything around you is beautiful, right? You feel more loving towards yourself and towards others. Then joy, when you are in a state of joy, you are in a emotional state of serenity. You feel a feeling of completeness, oneness. And when you move towards peace, you are in a state of bliss or perfection. The highest frequency is enlightenment, the state of enlightenment, which is a state of pure consciousness. And if you look at the chart here, this entire frequency scale is divided into three parts. So the lower frequency, when you are in lower frequency, you are more in a survival mode, right? You are just struggling in life. You are a struggler. And when you move to a little higher frequency than that, then you are living a life of reason and integrity, right? And when you move beyond that, when you are in a higher state of frequency, you have a spiritual paradigm, right? So you may have observed people who meditate, or people who are living a life, where, so you may have observed that people who are living a life where they are working on themselves, their inner life, right? The non physical as well, not just the physical, body doing gymming or exercising, but at the same time, people who are also taking care of their psychological well being through various modalities, they are the ones who are mostly vibrating at a little higher frequency, which is the frequency of love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. And enlightenment, again, that is a frequency where only masters are able to reach, right? And it is very important to maintain a high frequency. One is you reaching there, another is you have to maintain that frequency. And how can you maintain that frequency? Through regular practice, right? So we will be talking about how you can reach a higher frequency in the upcoming video, right? And the power to influence for anyone who's vibrating at a higher frequency is much higher, right? So you may have observed, the spiritual masters or the influencers, the leaders are mostly vibrating at a higher frequency. And that's why their power to influence is much, much higher. If you see, when you raise your frequency through any modality, or for example, if you are consistently practicing meditation, you will be able to maintain that high frequency for a long time, right? And the more you practice meditation or techniques which keep you at a higher frequency, you will be able to stick to that higher frequency, or you will be able to sustain that frequency. Now, how to measure your emotional frequency? So there is a simple method, a very simple technique which I can tell you to measure your own emotional frequency. Step 1, just sit in a very quiet place and just relax. Step 2, meditate or observe your dominant emotion and just observe what arises. Step 3, note your emotions, the dominant ones, and just observe their intensity, right? Just close your eyes, just feel how you are feeling, which is the dominant emotion that you are feeling. Step 4, refer to the emotional frequency chart to find out where your dominant emotion falls. This will help you to find out which is the strongest vibrational energy or frequency you are vibrating at, what is your dominant emotion. And that ways you will be able to know whether you are vibrating at a higher frequency or you are vibrating at a lower frequency. Now, how is this emotional scale of frequency going to help you? In case you know your dominant emotion, where are you vibrating most of the time? Are you vibrating at the frequency of fear or guilt or anger or grief? Or are you mostly in a state of love or joy or bliss? So, this is basically going to help you to self reflect, right? This is going to tell you where you are vibrating, and let me tell you, all your physical diseases are also interconnected with the emotional state of being you are at. So, if you look at mental diseases like depression, anxiety, so if you see, these people are majorly vibrating at guilt or shame or fear. So their dominant vibratory frequency is that of guilt. They are holding some shame inside. They are holding some deep fear inside them, right? Which basically triggers them to self harm sometimes, right? And that can also basically create anxiety or depression or any of the mental sort of disease, right? Disorder, let's say. So it's very important for those people who are ready to take those small steps towards, towards becoming a better self. So what is the first step when you go to a doctor? What does the doctor do? The doctor is first of all going to diagnose where you are at. He's going to do your tests, which are going to tell you. So this is what your report is telling about you. Similarly, how do we know our mental state of being or emotional state of being? We can only know that when we know our dominant frequency. And yes, there are methods to improve our emotional states of beings, right? You can always start from a lower frequency and then take it, one step ahead and then become better and then move to a higher frequency also. So I'll be doing another video around what all you can do to improve your vibratory frequency in the next video. So there is definitely going to be a part 2 of this video because this is already a little longer video, right, than usual. So I'll be creating another video, part 2 of this video. And remember, people, this is only for those people who are ready to see themselves in the mirror. This is only for those people who are ready to self reflect and look at themselves, at, within themselves, right, who are ready to turn inwards, reflect on themselves, and those who feel that they are ready to become a better version of themselves, right? This is not for people who are in a state of pride, for example, who feel I am perfect. So this is not for perfectionists, right? This is for people who feel I am ready to improve one step at a time, right? And sky is the limit. If you feel you are already in the state of enlightenment, which I doubt, only spiritual masters or very, very influential leaders are able to reach that state and sustain that state. So if you are not there, then definitely there is a scope of improvement that you can have, right? So just self reflect, look at the 4 steps once again. So let me remind you of those 4 steps. Just sit, relax, close your eyes, observe your dominant emotion, just feel within what are you feeling vibrationally, which is your dominant emotion, right? And when you observe a certain emotion which is coming again and again, that is where you are vibrating at, right? So anchor that, and then if you are ready, take one step at a time, move to the next step. You are not going to stay in the same state forever. Nobody stays in the state of, let's say shame or grief or, that state forever unless they are under any medical condition. Mostly people fluctuate from one vibratory frequency to the other, right? So you have to self reflect, right? And at the same time, if you are able to manage a higher state of frequency, it is important for you to sustain that frequency. For example, if you feel joy sometimes, or if you are able to be in a state of bliss, so for those people, what is important is how they can maintain that higher frequency state, right? With that, I would like to say that thank you so much for joining me today on this very special topic on understanding our vibratory frequency and how they impact our state of mind. And if you like the video, do not forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. And let's continue to shine and inspire others with our light, with our positivity, with our joy. Thank you so much once again. Have a great day.